Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and I'm joined with my good friend Miguda. Miguda, habari gani?
Niko salama kakangu,
Mm-hmm.
niko mzima,
Okay.
kupambana tu na hali ya maisha kama kawaida.
Ukisema kupambana na hali ya maisha, kuna wimbo fulani wa zilizopendwa iliimbwa na Les Wanyika. Ilikuwa naongea juu hali ya kupambana na maisha. Maisha ni mapambano. Vipi leo watamani kuwa na gari? Tamani ni wale walikuwa wanazungumzia juu ya tamaa, si pambano ya maisha. Lakini pia kuna wimbo ambazo, baadhi za wimbo ambazo wameimba ambao inazungumzia sana maisha, kupigana na maisha. I hope you're doing good, Mr. Miguda.
Doing good.
Okay, thank you so
Very
much.
good.
All right. We want to have a conversation, and I know it's a conversation that has been going on, and so many people have given their views, but like we are also looking at it, and let's try to share our views with those have been made by so many people on various platforms, especially concerning about the intervention that the Right Honorable Prime Minister gave to President William Ruto concerning what was taking place in the country. You remember there was that Gen Z. Then after that, during the Gen Z revolt, then there was the military was on came out from the barracks and they were on street. So the other day, the Right Honorable Prime Minister actually said, I quote, that he rescued or he saved the president, the government of President Ruto from collapsing. And now we want to look at in the process of that intervention, was it doing it for the country or was it doing it for president himself? But before that, there are also quite a number of appointments that have been made, and that also will form a basis of our discussion, bearing in mind those appointments, because these appointments are coming after the memorandum of understanding. And was this part of the agreement, maybe gentleman agreement, that because I rescued you together with your government, these are the payback? So those are some of the things that we are looking at. Among other things, let me see who has been appointed here. Do I say Dr. Jane Karen Bunya, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development, Ms. Regina Akoth Ombam, State of Department of Trade, Dr. Caroline Wanjiru Kirago, State Department of East Africa. Actually, she was there was a time she was nominated by the Right Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, and President cancelled her appointment. Remember? That is also there. Dr. Olunga Frederick, State Department for Medical Services. I think that appointment is very crucial because this is doctor, so he will be in a position to understand how the medical work since he's a medic. So that is okay. Mr. Stephen Isaboke, State Department for Broadcasting Telecommunication. Yeah, CPA Karen Agengo Achieng, State Department for Children and Welfare. So those are some of the appointments that the president had made. So if the appointments are going to change and bring services to the people, that is what we want, and that is what we need. Thank you so much, Miguda. What do you say about the appointments?
Maybe if I tackle briefly about the appointment. Appointment, it is the prerogative of the president to carry out the appointments which we have been shown in the mainstream media, and we have received reports from the head of public service, Felix Kosgei.
Yeah.
They have been published in the Gazette, and they will be forwarded to Parliament for approval.
Yes.
In what I want to discuss about the appointments, just I've realized that the offer given to Raila Odinga with William Ruto and the acceptance by Raila Odinga which has enabled them to end up with so-called broad-based government, more of a MOU.
Mhm.
The reward is still on,
Mhm.
and the people who are reaping big are the ODM people.
Mhm.
They have been rewarded beyond. You have heard them. They were rewarded in the cabinet. Again, they were rewarded into the National Assembly, like
Mhm.
the Budget Chair Committee, and others also were given some slots. And when the president also has made some appointment into the permanent PS, he has ensured that there are also some slots which have been given to former prime minister. And former prime minister has just decided to also reward the loyalists. If you saw those names, there's one person who has worked for Raila for a long time, Parendo. She
Oh.
was also given certain slot. It means now that whenever there's an opportunity in the reward from the Mr. President,
Mhm.
the primary people to be considered the loyalists first, then other people will come there. So I agree that it is an agreement between UDA and ODM to work towards 2027, because if there is an opportunity, either it goes to ODM people. That's when I talk about the appointments.
You've talked of the people who have worked with him for quite a long time, or the people who have been very loyal to him. Is that one is in order, because like you cannot just award those positions to people who are not loyal to you. What do you think about that?
That is why I said
Mm-hmm.
it is indeed a contract between UDA and ODM. Therefore, whenever any reward comes on the way, it will
Yeah.
go to the people who are from those parties. We don't expect them to associate some of us who are not members of those parties. That is why, even though it is in order, but in accordance with their MOU, it
Yeah.
was very clear that it is between ODM and UDA. And even you had parties like Ford Kenya were excluded, parties like Wiper were excluded. That's why you can't see members of Wiper. I believe that going forward from now towards 27, ODM and UDA are working in a structured
Mm-hmm.
written document
Yeah.
whereby if any reward comes on the way, the first people to be considered are the people from the ODM part, because that's what they sworn in at the KICC, and the people from the UDA party. That's why some Kenyans, though it is in order according to that, the president as the head of state and also as the symbol of national unity ought to have reconsidered that the entire country, you don't need to belong to political party for you to be appointed. But now you understand that you must bear in your mind there is an agreement between ODM and UDA that they are working towards 2027, and they are very clear about that one. That's why if there is any opportunity, the first people to be reconsidered are going to be the people from that party.
Okay, thank you so much. By the way, there's something that I saw. You remember the other day, was it that 2 days ago, I spoke of misunderstanding between Honorable Obungo, and Honorable Gabi. The other day, I saw them a video at Kondele Police Station with the chairman of the Boda Boda riders in Kisumu. They buried their hatchets, and now they are peaceful. I hope so. And even the Boda Boda guy, the Boda Boda chair was very categorical on what happened and what should be done. And if that is, they should do clean politics. And we thank them for that. So in days to come, we want to see them, they're competing on ideology, but not on violence. So, Mr. Migud, what we want to look at, because this is coming at a backdrop of what the Right Honorable Prime Minister say, that um, his intervention in this government was to see uh, the president government not collapsing, and also not collapsing by um, the military not taking over. That is, as per his thing, that is what he's claimed. But when you look at it in deeper, and you ask yourself, was the Right Honorable Prime Minister doing it for the nation, or he was just doing it for Ruto, of the President Ruto? When you look at the situation now.
The question is a bit complex because
Yeah.
first there was no any signal that military were going to take over. Military were in the barracks until there was an order from the executive, and they purport that Parliament has already approved that the military should be deployed into the civilians, or the military should be deployed internally, which is not supposed to be. Military are supposed to deal with external attacks, and they can never be deployed internally. But they say now there was an approval by Parliament, that there was a special sitting by Parliament who approved that military should be deployed internally to salvage the situation. That's why we are saying it's a bit complex, because military came in after they were given order. They operated under order. There was no intention, or there was no any form of deliberation that military wanted to take over. Up to now, there is no proof that military wanted to take over the government. Military were into the barracks until they were ordered to come out internally. That is why, if you want to put the question that did the intervention prevent the military from taking over from Ruto, I think we can exclude military and discuss that the intervention saved William Ruto from the people, because it is the people who are revolting, particularly the Gen Zs. It's the Gen Zs who are on the street demanding for rejection of the finance bill. At the same time, after they were killed, some were injured, some were also abducted. They decided that now Ruto must go. By the time the military were deployed internally, in my view, there was no any tension that already has escalated that military were going to take over from William Ruto. And there haven't been any intention from the military from the word go. The reason why they were deployed internally, they came to save the situation because the police officers were overwhelmed by the resistance from the Gen Z. The Gen Z was resistant, and they were very resilient to an extent that the policemen could not solve the situation. So they saw it was that bring the military to salvage the situation. But there was no intention of coup from the military. That must be stated very clearly. Then, if what I can say that when Raila came in to intervene, Raila stated that it is Ruto who goes to look for Raila. Ruto went for Raila and wanted Raila to come and assist him to salvage from the situation. It means now the intervention by Mr. former Prime Minister, in my view, he saved Ruto from being chased away by the resilient young people who are demanding for the change right now. At the same time, it saved the country from going through other means. The popular Bangladesh by our friend Ayaga. Ayaga is so much into Bangladesh. He understands it very well. So he never wanted us to go to the Bangladesh way. That is why he said, okay, let us stabilize this government even up to 2027, so that we can go back to the ballot, because we fought so hard for this democracy, and it's not good that we can get rid of it within a millisecond. That is why I believe that he salvaged Mr. Ruto from the people, not that he salvaged Mr. Ruto from the military. That one must be taken into consideration, that there was no intent from the military. The deployment were done deliberately, and the CS for the defense by then Duale stated unequivocally that they had approval from Parliament, the special sitting, to deploy the military into civilian internally. Therefore, I believe that the intervention salvaged Mr. Ruto from the resilient people. At the same time, it also tried to make us not lose our democracy as a country.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Mr. Ayaga, how are you doing, sir?
Okay, we can just proceed. Ayaga will come in the next 10 minutes.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. And, you know, and when you based on the chronology that you've given, and on the question of whether the rescue that or intervention that the Right Honorable Prime Minister offered at that particular moment, it was all about safeguarding or giving guard to president against Kenyan people. But there are also some quarters who believe the same, that by the Right Honorable Prime Minister coming in, he was acting to save the country because he felt, or people felt like if it could have gone military way, we could have not recovered from that. And so many examples were given on some countries that have underwent the same military coup, especially on the negative part, because like there's a country like Burkina Faso that went through the military coup. But right now, if you microscope them, you find that they're doing good in terms of development, in terms of economic wise, you know. So Makobura, thank you for joining. Before Ayaga comes in, because like we cannot get Miguda has spoken to us about what happened. You personally, when you look at the intervention that the Right Honorable Prime Minister brought in, was it for the country or it was to the president?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. It is nice to join the conversation this evening. What I can say about the move by Raila Odinga to join the president, I think first we need to look at the circumstances that made them start working together.
Mm-hmm.
If you can remember the issue, there was a demonstration by the Gen Zs, and the young people had their demands that they wanted the government to look into. And that led to a serious demonstration in the entire country, in different counties within the republic.
Mm.
And remember, the issues or the concerns that the Gen Z, so young people, are raising are the same issues that Raila has been raising over and over. And to me, if you ask me, I think it was a good opportunity for the political class, especially one Raila Odinga, being that he had stood and the issues which are being raised are the same exact issues that he's been raising for years and years. So I think this was a good opportunity for him to just come out and unite with the young people, because it had gotten to a point where the young people were no longer condoling or welcoming the move by the government. There were so many things which were not really working in this government. And so it was a better opportunity for Raila to come and maybe support, because that would have somehow brought clarity and also revolution within the government, and it would have clearly sent some some message to the political leaders and the political leaders that this is what the people of Kenya want. But Raila came out at that particular time when he was needed by the young people to join the struggle and continue the struggle that he himself started. He opted to join the government, and he gave his reasons. And according to him, he said that it was the best move because according to him, whatever, the demonstration that were being spearheaded by the Gen Zs would have ended to the ouster of the president. And according to him, said that that would have caused a country a massive loss of so many things, including life.
But you as Makobura,
among
Akil, sorry for cutting you short, but you as Makobura, when you look at it, and maybe the Right Honorable Prime Minister just within himself had a conversation within himself, and he said that the route that I'm going to take yeah, is going to be the best for the country, you know. Yeah. That's why, like, you find that there are people who believe that it was the best for the country at that moment, you know,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
even like saying, okay, we'll not go the Gen Z way, because one of the demands of the Gen Z on the because when the Gen Z started, actually the Ruto must go was not among the list. Ruto must go just came after the reject finance bill. Yeah, so then Ruto must go came in. But now that's why you find that the right honorable prime minister, after Ruto has gone, what next? So he said, okay, let's us allow him to be. So in him making that decision, was he making it for the country, or he was making it against the country by supporting the president?
Yeah, I I was actually coming to that. I needed
Mm-hmm.
first to give a clarification of
Okay.
what transpired,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever brought us to the question that we are currently dealing with. Yeah, so just like I've explained,
Yeah.
of course, I'm giving you the view of what happened, and then I'm giving my view and what I
Yeah.
think about the move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Raila came and gave reasons why he thought it was right to, side with the government. And the question, like you've placed it, was this intervention, a good
Mm-hmm.
for the nation or for the president?
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me from whatever I'm seeing and the birth of, what it has brought forth is we've seen close allies of Raila Molodinga and Raila Molodinga himself being given a lot of, how do you put it, attention by the government. Raila is being given a lot of attention by the president and his close allies. And again, even the close allies of Raila Molodinga are being given a lot of, attention by the government. The reason why they're doing this is because the president is trying to bring, he's just trying to get some support from him, because it the move by the Gen Zs had actually made the whole country to not trust the president and also the people in leadership. So he made this decision, to me, the way I'm seeing it, to just neutralize the power and the voice of the Gen Zs, which was coming. And if it was not tamed, to me, the way I'm looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
of course, it would have gotten to a point where the president would have gone home, because that was a movement which was not really easy to stop. I mean, they were not really easy. It wasn't easy for the president to stop, and even the security apparatus.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, if you can remember, the young people managed to even get into the parliament. And that was the first thing that was actually seen in the history of Kenyan politics. And again, all those things that they did in the streets
Yeah.
and the attention that they seeked in the entire world was something that had never been seen anywhere. And remember, that movement, it was a consistent movement. So partly the move by Raila Molodinga, it wasn't an intervention to help the people of Kenya, but it was an intervention to help the president. And that is why the president is giving back. One, by ensuring that the close allies of Raila Molodinga, the former deputy party leader of ODM, the two of them, Oparan and Joe, were given a chance in the government of William Samoei Ruto as cabinet secretaries. The chairman of ODM party and the minority the minority leader were also given a chance to serve in this government.
Yeah.
That is a clear indication that the move
Mm-hmm.
by the opposition to get into this government was purely for their own benefit and not the benefit of the people of Kenya. People have been saying that it is a broad-based, a government that is inclusive, a government that is solving the issues of the people of Kenya. But the question that we, the people, are still asking is, what different? We haven't seen anything new or different, or we haven't seen issues which were raised by the Gen Zs, unemployment, high cost of living, injustices. We haven't seen these things solved. And that is a clear indication that more of what has been given priority in this government, and with this move of Raila Amolo Odinga, just opting to side with the president, was for his personal and the close allies' personal interest. It wasn't something that is beneficial to the people, if you ask me.
Okay, thank you so much. Now my brother Ayaga is here, and Ayaga, I just want also to get your view on what is taking place right now, the intervention that the Right Honorable Prime Minister did, and based on even what he said, that because of him coming in, he came to rescue the collapse of the President William Ruto administration. And I want you to look at it as a covenant of reconciliation to the nation. Because this might be one of the, if you look at it and the 10-point agenda that has been put forward, that they're working on, the memorandum that they're working on, there's a covenant of that national reconciliation whereby people have to reconcile, and that reconciliation talking about bringing people together, So of what benefit it is? Is it to the presidency or it is for the country? Then the presidency, I mean to President Ruto personally, the intervention. Is Ayaga listening? I can see he's muted. Okay, let's wait. I think he's not by his mic. He's working on, and immediately he comes on. We will give him a chance. Miguda, I want you to look at this in terms of spirit of reconciliation and spirit of a new journey that starts. And of what benefit will it be if it is a spirit of reconciliation and a spirit of new journey, that building a nation, as what he said, that we are bringing Kenyans together? Who does it benefit in the process? Who benefits more?
Before I delve into your question, let me clarify two things there. First, the reason why I insisted that there was no military coup, there was no intent from our soldiers to take over the government. Because if I thought that was the case, currently we could be having those people who plotted, or those people who take over, and the suspects should be brought to book. They could be taken to due process of the law. What happened in '82 when the suspects were taken to due process of the law and some were hung? I believe that there was nothing like any intent for a coup into the country. There was just a revolt from the young people. Another thing Makubura have talked about, and I want to reiterate, the issue of 10-point agenda in the Memorandum of Understanding. And they said that in the Memorandum of Understanding, they have put 10-point agenda. And one of the agendas is unemployment. Unemployment, it is the young people who are going to the street that they were never employed. And when you look, even when it comes to appointments, they are only being rewarded to the loyalists from the ODM party, but none of those appointments have favored the young people. That's why we are still believing that in that 10-point agenda, we don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, and we are not anticipating that there is going to be something different other than what happened during Handshake, what happened during Sumukati, what happened during cooperation. The pressing issues of unemployment were subject of discussion from the young people, not from the ODM loyalists. That is why in my first submission, I stated clearly that it was an agreement between ODM and UDA, and we are not surprised when the loyalists from the ODM are being rewarded, because it was their thing, not the public thing. It was their thing, not for the people. We talk about the issue of reconciliation.
Yeah.
You asked me, Is there any reconciliation to the people? I don't see any reconciliation. And those are the things we are raising as young people. There is no reconciliation because people still doubt. People have doubted, and even it is not even a month already, you have seen things like unemployment not being given to the young people. So I don't think there is going to be reconciliation to the people. And even if you look at our East as a country, and previously you are the one who stated those reports. You talked about TGRC report, you talk about Ndungu report, you talk about Kriegler report. None of those reports have been implemented. And even when they were campaigning previously, there was a promise by the Azimio that they will ensure that they implement TGRC report. If you talk about this of reconciliation, I want to challenge them. Right now, they are in the midst of the government. Let them try even to implement the TGRC report because they represent the people. And that is why we are trying to, that not that we have said that, not that we are opposed to what they are doing. They are at liberty to do. But things are very clear that even that 10-point agenda, which we doubted before, currently the people who are getting employment are not the young people, are just people from the ODM. That's why I say that it is the ODM, UDA structured how they are going to work from that time to 2027. And currently they're saying they're going to work beyond 2027, which is not wrong. But something for the people, I don't see from that report.
Okay, thank you so much. I think, Ayaga, have you fixed your mic? Ayaga.
Yes, it is okay now.
Okay. Thank you so much for fixing your mic, and welcome to the show. We are discussing about the intervention of the Right Honorable Prime Minister to President William Ruto, and the question that everyone is asking, the intervention that he did. You have like your background, sir. Yeah, the background of Ayaga, he will come back, and let me engage Makobura on issue of.
It is okay now. I think I can get you.
Okay. I hope you had my conversation earlier about we are looking at what is happening now and the intervention or the hand of Raila Amolo Odinga into the government, and people are asking, his hand, is it to the country or is it to President William Ruto, bearing in mind that how we can bring in economic dignity to Kenyan people? Do you feel when you bring in the economic dignity to all, like whereby you look at economic dignity and you look at what has happened, intervention, do you think it will be for that? And is it for himself or for the country?
Yes, I hope my background is not noisy now that much. Let me move kidogo. So, yeah, it is good for both him and the country at large. And I will explain. You know, at the verge of the Gen Z protest, either we denied it or not, there was a collapse or a crackdown of intelligence. Because if President could have been receiving proper intelligence, he could have known the intensity of the protest or the magnitude and how they could have planned how to deal with it. But it seems this thing caught the government flat-footed, going by the words of Rigathi Gachagua, though people tried to deny that, but now that is the reality. Even the deployment, the hurry deployment of military was a technical mistake. And that's why when the reappointment of the CSS were done, at least remember President mentioned the name of Duale as the Minister of Defense. And then when the names were forwarded to the parliament, the name of Duale was changed to the forestry, I think, and the name of Soipan Tuya was now, even the MPs were amused and they were shocked as well. So that tells you that many things took place between that. So let me come to my points. How is this good for the country? The country was in a dilemma and the country was facing the uncertainty. The Gen Z were partyless, they were leaderless, they were tribeless, yes, but which is very good. The problem is leaderless. If we could have managed to bring down the government, what next? That thing worries so many Democrats and so many leaders. That's why you can see the senior leaders in this country, I'm talking about senior leaders in this nation, are supporting what Raila Odinga did. But the younger generation who are in hurry to power are opposed to it. But anything, when you are in a crackdown, the intelligence was not briefing the president nicely, and the government was caught flat-footed. We didn't know the intensity and how long this could take place. Remember, these people are mobilized all over the country. You only deploy military in Nairobi and in maybe parts of Kisumu and Nakuru. What about the rest of the country? So it was a tough situation. And remember, number one, military are human beings. We don't say there was a military coup. Yes, there was nothing like that. But anytime there is a vacancy, people take advantage of vacancy. It is called the fear of unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is called the fear of unknown. Now that fear of unknown is what was averted by Raila Odinga rescuing William Ruto. But Kenyans or human beings, they always want to see the actual thing. It's when they react to it. But the fear of unknown, the prevention is better than cure. What if the military now came to the street and the military was not going to shoot people like what we saw the second day after 25th? The people were dancing together with the military. Military was not going to shoot them. What if those military people now get the order from their generals? Now march that crowd towards the state house and plug the president, and then we announce that we are in charge. What happened after that? And then they let the people run amok in the state house, destroy a few things, removed the president, and then the small detail of take the president out there with the chopper, fly to another country. What happens after that? That fear of unknown is what was averted by Raila Odinga, and people should celebrate that. To Raila Odinga himself, it was good for him. He's now enjoying power. Any politician want power. No politician doesn't want power. And if you don't want power, there is no need of being a politician, and there is no need of forming a political party. So Raila needs power, and he wants power. If he gets the way to tap the power, or the traps of power, he will do it whatever the situation, and he can take advantage of, because the Gen Zs never organize themselves. Because what next after Ruto must go? Even if you ask them today, all the so-called the organizers, they never have anything. They were just telling you, just we need Ruto to go. Then what next? That must be asking a country in every revolution, or else we might go Egypt way, we might go Sudan way. Remember, it is the Sudanese people who removed al-Bashir. They went to the streets in large numbers. They campaigned against al-Bashir. They removed al-Bashir. Then do they enjoy the removal of al-Bashir? Al-Bashir must go. And today what's happened? There was a vacuum that was created, and the generals took over. That's where the Dagalo and the other one, the Janjaweed one and the army one, both were generals, and now they are taking advantage, and the people of that country are suffering today. So that fear of unknown was not a military coup.
Okay, thank you. But like, if that is okay, and that is so much understandable, and is much arguable. But to what extent should you do it? Because like right now, as you say that now he's enjoying power and every politician needs power. As it answered the question that the Kenyans were asking, things to do with economy, things to do with the social status of the country, or he will take the blame game for those in the process of stabilizing?
Yes, Raila Odinga will take blame, and he always carry the blame of every handshake he went through. And that's why I was saying, let us be responsible. Raila Odinga will take responsibility, and he always suffer for the same after every election. So what I'm saying is very simple. There is a way we Kenyans also must take responsibility, and there is a way Raila Odinga and other politicians must take a responsibility. And remember, when Raila calmed the storm, he has a right now to enjoy. He has a right to enjoy, my friend. You cannot create a field for other people to play. People always create a field for themselves to play. And remember, football is won in a boardroom, in a training field, not in the match field. If you see people on field or Old Trafford, those people had a training somewhere. And when they had a training somewhere, the Liverpool knew their team members and even the people who will be substituted. So if Raila Odinga's people are today enjoying power, I don't think there is something wrong with it, though the way he does it, the process he's doing, and the person is trying to rescue. What if Raila has no plan to rescue him? He just wants to ensure that he separates the Ruto and Gachagua completely and then join forces to remove the president. So you never know. A day in politics is so many days. Anything can change between September next year to February next year. In 2023 January, you could have told somebody that in 2024 January, ungeambia mtu kwamba by October, Rigathi Gachagua will not be in the office. People never believe. So let us give them time. But I believe, me as Eric, I believe in one thing, having a peaceful, with a stable, not even that much economic stable country, but it is peaceful. We can go do our business and come back and try to rectify the bad governance in a peaceful and a stable country, rather than a country that the martial law can be declared and a state of emergency that Ayaga will not even leave his home. The internet will be cut. Everything will go to the dark as we are trying to fight the military. I better this one of Raila Odinga and William Ruto, though I don't support his way of joining the government.
Okay, thank you so much. And let me bring in Makobura. And this one we want to talk about the legitimacy. And the legitimacy I'm talking about is two legitimacy. I'm talking about the opposition legitimacy and the government legitimacy. Because even though it can be argued the way Ayaga puts it, that was the best option for the country, even for President William Ruto. But again, you come at the legitimacy. After coming and doing that, what was the best way he can do it so that we can have legitimate opposition whereby you can question, or the legitimate minority that can question, or the legitimate legislative that can question the president, or can put accountability and transparency on the government, rather than having a situation whereby now everything seems to be rubber stamped, or anything will be rubber stamped. And now that, how does that one benefit the country and her citizens?
Okay, thank you. I think the move by the president to bring in Raila Odinga to the government, it wasn't a good move, because it has created a lot of confusion in terms of governance, and again in terms of the role that is being played by the parliament. We are seeing a confused parliament, a parliament that still get orders from the two principals, that is the president and Raila Amolo Odinga. Something that we should note is that, remember, ODM is the second largest party after the Union of Kenya Kwanza. And being that ODM was on this other side, when they shifted to the government side, remember they've left very few members of parliament the other side. And again, remember the leadership of the so-called opposition is still being held by the ODM. And that means that the Kenya Kwanza members of parliament are still holding, the parliamentary positions, which are supposed to be held by the majority. But then if you come to the minority, ODM is still holding all those positions. And so those people who have remained behind, the likes of Wiper and these other parties, they have no power to question or to even come up with anything that can, that can help, or to even question. They can't even question what the government is doing. The problem we have now is the parliament is, since Raila joined this other side, we are in a point where the two leadership, that is the minority and majority, they're getting instructions from their leaders. And this is not something that is helpful, because remember, the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya clarifies the role of members of parliament and also how independent they're supposed to act. When you see a parliament that is being controlled by the two principles which are working together at the top, we cannot really expect good things, because they're trying to actualize what they had promised the people of Kenya, and they do not actually care about the means or the ways in which they are going to do it, kama wanaumiza watu ama waumizi watu, because they don't want to understand what is really happening on the ground. And that is not good for the leadership of this country. We're also seeing an attack by the two parts. They're attacking now the judiciary. Anything that is made by the judiciary, even if the judiciary comes to the parliament, a parliament that should be independent, now they're all attacking the judiciary together with the executive. We cannot expect anything positive. And just like you've asked, this move, it wasn't a good one again, because if the president was really genuine and he wanted to bring leaders from different, from the opposition side, he would have ensured that he followed the likes of Kalonzo and the Wiper, the likes of Martha Karua, and everyone would have been onboarded. It is so unfair that he's saying that he's bringing the opposition and then he's going for Raila Amolo Odinga and leaving the other ones.
Yeah.
Because if it was a matter of solving issue of wengine wanafikiria hawako kwa serikali, then there's still a group of people who are still feeling that hawako kwa serikali. Does it mean that their voices are not then represented? Does it mean that wao hawana, they do not, they are the minority, and so they have no power? These are the questions that we are asking. And again, the moves and the decisions which are being made by the government together with the ODM, some of the moves are not really pro people. They are just doing these conversations and making decisions at their political side without involving the normal wananchi. The main reason why, according to them, they were coming up, joining hands, is because they wanted to solve the problems which were affecting the people of Kenya.
Yeah.
They are actually not solving the problems of the people of Kenya, because they have literally forgotten about the people. They are having conversations and listening to the ODM party and those political party, leaders more than the people. Just because ODM joined the government and slowed down the political temperatures within the country does not mean that the interest of the people have been solved. It is not the interest of the people that has been solved, but instead, it is the interest of some few political leaders. If truly there was a genuine move by the president, he would have included both the Wiper side, the likes of DAP, because all these parties formed the Azimio. And it would be wise then, if it is a matter of broad-based and everyone is being listened to, that they are also brought forth, so that we don't have a situation where the people who are somehow represented by the Wiper party, some of them would think that, they are not represented. The people represented by the DAP, they also think that they are not represented. But again, remember, more of what is being discussed here is interest. I think whenever the interest of political parties converge, automatically you'll see unison, and you'll see the parties speaking in a language depending on what they've been given. This is not the first time. If you remember the handshakes which have happened sometimes back, for example, the handshake which happened between Uhuru and Raila, there were some beneficiaries, of course, from the Wiper side, and you could see even the Wiper party leader was coming out to say that, he was in support of this. And the only side that was not really supporting was the side that was represented by the current president, that is William Samoei Arap Ruto. And that, of course, caused a lot of division in the country. And that is the reason why the issue of dynasty and hustler started, because there was a feeling then that the conversation or the issues which are being talked about at the handshake level, that was during President Uhuru and Raila, there were issues that were really touching the political side of the political leaders. That was Raila, Kalonzo, and the close allies. According to the current president, his take was the people's voice are not being listened to. I think those are the current feelings that even the people of Kenya are still having, and other people in other political parties. So my take would be, if president is truly genuine and they want to solve the issue of people having different thinking or people having different stance, then at least he need to welcome everyone. And again, the most important thing is the interest of the people should be at par. It shouldn't be the interest of the political parties or political leaders. That is what, of course, has been a problem with Kenya.
Okay, thank you so much. And, I'm bringing you in, Mr. Yaga. Before that, I say that this is what my take is saying. You are so used to opposition, you just oppose things for the sake of opposing. Are you even listening to yourself? We are not in opposition, or we are not opposing things. We are having a conversation on the way. We are just asking ourselves, was it the right move when the Right Honorable Prime Minister intervened on Ruto when things were happening? We are asking,
my take has just joined, and instead of taking time to listen to what we are talking about, is
and that's why I want to bring him to the speed and what we were talking about. We're just having a conversation, like we are looking at the pro and the cons. Is it benefiting so much on William Ruto, or it benefiting on the countryside? We are not saying that we are in opposition. And so that is what we are talking about, my brother. We are just giving our view. So you can also give your view and maybe share with us what you feel or what you think in the event, or the event that has really took place, a situation whereby the Right Honorable Prime Minister came in and intervened based on what he said the other day. So we're just asking, was it for the country or was for President William Ruto? It was not all about opposition or about in government. So that is what we were speaking about, just to bring you to speed. So that is what the conversation we are having. And we really, really appreciate your comments. And you can also share with us what you think. Then it will be okay with us. Thank you so much for that. And we want to talk about the unity that when they came, it is benefiting the country. Only myopic people would think it benefits only individuals. Of course, individuals will also benefit. Thank you. That is the conversation that we are having. Now you see what you've said, and those are some of the things that we are having a conversation. It's benefiting the country. Yes. And what about those people who have different opinion too? So we are in the same page, and that is a conversation that we are having. Miguda, before I bring in Ayaga, we are talking about inclusivity and bringing Kenya together. And if you look at the both sides of the aisle, especially those who are opposing and those who are in the government right now, or those who are working in the government and those who are not working in the government, that unity, there are those who are speaking the words that does not bring unity, or like you are preaching of the unity, but your foot soldiers are not saying what unifies. So that is how, again, we come and ask, how will that one benefit the country, or how will that one benefit the president? Because he's the father of all nations. When preaching of the unity, and the people in his camp are also speaking words that do not unify, how is that one going to work?
That is exactly what we are asking here, and that's exactly what we are discussing. I don't know how people receive information, but it's not important. I believe that it is only inclusivity, or it is only togetherness or unity to politicians. Let us distinct politicians and those who are not politicians, those who want other things to be done their way. But as a politician, when it is convenient for him or for her, he or she will call it unity or inclusivity. But whenever it's not convenient, he will speak the other language. That is why this issue of inclusivity and togetherness, and inclusivity does not mean that by picking people from across the country or from different tribes, now we are being inclusive. You can bring people from across the country or from different tribes, but some of them are not merited. There's no harm for even two people from similar community being elected or being appointed to the committee in parliament. If they are proved that they can work, we can move on with them. It is not a matter that we must put the face of all tribes into appointment or into the government. Like right now, we have people from the way people are just talking, people from around 8 CS from Mount Kenya. So there's no harm. If they are competent and they can work, they can just occupy those positions. But it doesn't mean that each and every community must be represented for us to realize inclusivity or togetherness. It does not work out that way in a democratic setup environment. That's why I believe that if you are a politician, if it is convenient to you, you will call it whatever you want to call it. But whenever it's not convenient, you will call it the way you want to call it. Because you understand there have been mixed reaction. Even there are those people who are opposed to the MOU because they are aware that now by UD and ODM coming together. And they have been particular that Mount Kenya's positions have been taken by the ODM people. That the budget share was from Mount Kenya, some CS for treasury was from Mount Kenya, and the ODM people have taken from them. But when they were inside there, ODM people never accused them of taking those positions. I believe that that is how politics work, and that is the environment of our politics. Not that we are opposing or we are in support of what's happening, but you have to understand that there's a difference between a politician, the politics of the day, and the dynamics. So you must align yourself with them. It depends on the interest as well. You must put us the interest at first, and that's why I want to agree with Ayago what he said, that you can't be in politics if you don't want power. You are in politics to capture power, but when an opportunity presents itself, you can come in and capture that power. That's why we are not in dispute, but we're just discussing that. How about the people? I want to state one example, then I'm just dropping. When we pass our 2010 constitution, there's a certain consequence who voted no. But at the end of the day, we have the 2010 constitution, which is operational. Does it mean now that those people who voted no are not the people? Because this issue of the people, so who are the people? Even those people who voted no, they are the people, and the constitution binds everybody, whether you voted no or not. Similarly, whether you are in agreement of the MOU or not, but we are allegiance to one president. So that's a fact. But the fact that we are allegiance to one president doesn't mean now that we have to agree or we have to accept whatever they're doing. You are at liberty also to do your politics your way, or you to critique objectively. That is, you are at liberty.
Okay, thank you. Eric Ayaga, you can give us maybe your last remarks before we close.
Okay, thank you. So what I want to say is simple. I am of the opinion that disagree 100% with the MOU between Raila and Ruto, but sometimes it is good to give something the benefit of doubt. So I think in the Miguna Sifuna school of thought, let us give them time. Na tuko na marking scheme. If somebody is abducted from now henceforth, the case is closed. If the counties will not receive the 450 billion as per budget by the agreement, as budgeted by the agreement, we will remind them it is not working. We want to see the people who are killed in this Gen Z and even last year 2023 here miaka inaenda haraka sana 2023 imekuwa last year but one so last year but one people who are killed in last year but one actually they need to be compensated. If that will not be part of the budget, we have just start telling the Raila Odingas the truth where it deserves. But for now, with the one or two, I'm also born in this town. I know the sources I can get information. I'm an intelligence consumer partially. I can tell you the country was saved. The country was vulnerable at that time. We don't know what next. And remember, you can't trust even the general. Some people are mad in suggesting that the military could have taken over. Even in that military, there are factions, there are battalions, there are divisions, there is army, there is navy, there is air force. So for them even to agree of what channel to follow among themselves could be trouble. So let us have the failed democracy than have any other form of government that we have not tested. Better the devil we know than religion that we don't know. So that's my prayer for now. Let us give them time. I listened to Mbadi the other day, and I'm seeing the government are doing things that we are complaining. Kuweka hiyo pesa ya ID itolewe, itatolewa. Ikata hii ya new ID it will be taken back to 300 or something mpaka hapa 200 or 500 at least. If they will start to bring that and reduce tax by starting by this budget we are about to start get into the budget of 2025-2026. So we will actually say it's working. But if they will still introduce those high taxes, then we will say it is not working. So it is good to give them time. The issue of the ODM is picking the powers from other people, it is wrong. You can't have a region having 12 cabinet secretaries. Even the 8 they have is still wrong. I have thought that they should be reduced to 3 at least. Yeah, they should reduce to 3. We still need more size. If ODM is having a national outlook, it can take some to Marsabit, it can take some to Mombasa, it can take some to Western, it can take some to Kisii. ODM still don't have a Kisii man in the cabinet. They have a number of supporters from there. They can take one to Kisii. So I think this issue of one region, one to have 20 cabinet secretaries plus all chairs, they chair all powerful budget, all powerful committee in the National Assembly. That is wrong. It is balance, checks and balance. It must be done from the cabinet. I am seeing it must be turned to places, and we need it to the parliament. NASA, of Azimio. They have right to join or not to join. You cannot force them. Everybody, when they join politics, they know their goals. Everybody have their goals. Kila mtu ako na game yake. I might be have a collision with you, but I have my goals. If my goals do not match you after election, we part ways. The law is there how to part ways. I think Azimio, every time election is done in this republic, Kenya Kwanza is not Kenya Kwanza. Kenya Kwanza is dead. We should die. We should start planning for the future. Thank you very much. Let me call that my last day.
Okay, thank you so much, Eric. To Eric. Okay, thank you everyone who joined us this evening. I want to take this opportunity to just say a big thank you to everyone who joined and engaged us at the comment section. We appreciate, and we hope that you'll join us again tomorrow. I want to take this opportunity to just wish you all a blessed evening, a blessed evening, a blessed morning, a blessed afternoon from wherever you are. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you. Eric, you have something?